By the 21st century, China's population had reached 1.3 billion, making it the most populated country in the world. Now, presently, there are over 34 million Chinese living overseas, and that makes it one of the largest migration communities worldwide. In this special edition of Globe Trekker Chinatown, Megan McCormick, Justine Shapiro, and myself travel worldwide to explore the magic and mystery of Chinatowns around the world. The migration of Chinese communities across the world has meant almost every country has a Chinatown. We start our journey in Malaysia and Singapore, where traders led the earliest migration of Chinese people. We then follow the coolie trade to Peru, before Justine chases the gold rush to San Francisco. Then, Megan will visit the largest Chinatown in the USA, New York. In multicultural London, we look at the successes of Chinese settlers. And finally, I visit Hong Kong to find out why so many Chinese are returning home. Southeast Asia was a primary destination for overseas Chinese traders. The earliest Chinese migration was close to home, and that's where I start my journey, Malaysia. This is Penang, an island city on the west coast of Malaysia. And down there is Georgetown, one of the largest Chinatowns in the world. Modern-day Malaysia has a strong colonial feel, but the Chinese were here long before the British. They settled here in the 1400s and set up a trading post. And it was built by the great Admiral Chen Ho. Now, like all Chinese senior military officers, he was a eunuch. And like all eunuchs, he was a big guy. Now, apparently, this is his footprint. See what I mean? Now, if he hadn't stepped ashore and established one of the world's first Chinatown, Malaysia might not have existed at all. These migrants were the first Chinese people to settle in Malaysia. Nearly 400 years later, a future wave of Chinese immigration was triggered when the British founded what was to become the capital of Malaysia. Penang was established by Sir Francis Light. Now, he recognized that this swamp-infested island would make an ideal staging post for British trading ships. Sir Francis Light stepped ashore in 1786 and established Penang as a station for Britain's East India Company. He used it to replenish company ships on their long haul to China and the flourishing tea and opium trade. To service the trade, large numbers of Chinese and Indian workers were encouraged to settle here. Now, one of Chinatown's greatest contribution to Penang culture is the food. And all over the place, you're gonna find street hawkers just like this, selling all kinds of delicacies that combine Chinese and Malay ideas, as well as Indian and Muslim food. Because of these early Chinese settlers, Penang claims to have invented street food. These laborers lived in appallingly cramped conditions. With no space to cook, they ate their food on the street. Jellyfish and cuttlefish, my favorite. The Chinese immigrants not only married into the Malay culture, but also absorbed and adopted local spices and coconut milk into their cuisine, known as baba nonya. This is pig's intestine, the small intestine, the big intestine, and over here, this is pig stomach. And they cut it up, and they actually put it with porridge. I'm gonna love this. The tradition of eating food out on the street still remains today. It's my humble courage.
Oh,
yes.
Wonderful.
The success of the Chinese in Malaysia is probably due to its earliest settlers. I met up with the historian Ku Selma, whose great-grandfather made his fortune here.
It's one of these rags to riches stories.
Yeah?
He came from China as a penniless coolie, and then when he became rich, he bought a lot of property in this area.
He set up a gongxi or clan house so other Ku kinsmen could get a head start when they arrived in Penang.
This is one of Penang's 5 famous clan temples. And it works like this. When the migrants come here and then they are rather successful, then they ride back to the clan village. And they tell their relatives, come on over, we can provide you food and shelter initially, find you a job, get you all set up. It was a migrant society. And for people to come here, they need some sort of assurance and some sort of protection,
Clan houses are scattered all across Georgetown and designed to capture the splendor of an imperial palace. Each is named after the leader of the clan. One Chinese who really did make it big built this mansion, which has now become a hotel. Chong Fa-zi was a local Hakka merchant trader who left China as a penniless teenager and eventually established a vast financial empire throughout East Asia. Now I can see why the New York Times called him the Rockefeller of the East. This house has 38 rooms, 5 courtyards, 7 staircases, and 220 windows. Wow, it's a nice room. Well, today you can actually stay at Chong Fa-zi's stunning mansion and enjoy the lifestyle that he was accustomed to. It only costs $65 a night, and it comes with breakfast. Not bad. Feel like a millionaire already. Yes. But of course, not all the Chinese did so well, and some of the families lived here. These are known as the clan jetties. You had to be from the same clan or the same family in order to live here. Now, the one over there is for the Lin family. This one here is for the Chu clan. The one over there is for the Tan clan. And the one right at the end, that jetty over there, is for all the others. I'm on the wrong jetty. I'm a Tan. At Georgetown's waterfront, entire villages belong to the clans. The clan jetties are wooden houses perched on stilts over the sea. Each of the 6 villages has its own temple and houses just one clan. Mr. Chu 先生你好吗？今天有做什么呢？现在就想要去水。This is Mr. Chu Cheng-hee, and he's here at the Chu clan. He lives here, and what's going to happen is that he's just invited me to witness his practice. I don't know what practice is all about, but he tells me it's something really exciting, and I should not miss it. 我们走吧。可以了。So let's go have a look. Yeah. 要不要拉拉手去？拉拉手。It is thought that flag throwing originated in China. In fact, the immigrants, known locally as Sinke, newcomers, brought with them a whole range of superstitions, festivals, and traditions from the China they left behind. Among these are the Hungry Ghost Festival, where paper effigies are burnt to keep the ancestors happy. Then there is the Mooncake Festival, where elaborate lanterns are created, representing figures of Chinese mythology. The Chinese established themselves across Asia, and another big destination was Singapore. In the 14th century, Chinese traders described Singapore as a pirate-infested island. Today, it is a prosperous city-state that has overcome its natural resources to become one of the most powerful economies of Asia. In less than 200 years, Singapore has transformed itself from an island swamp into a modern industrialized nation. Like Penang, Singapore was a creation of the British East India Company, a shipping operation that wanted to control global trade in spices, tea, silk, and many other important Asian goods. It was Sir Thomas Stamford Raffles who arrived in 1819 and made Singapore a trade hub for Southeast Asia. He divided the city into different districts where the Chinese, Indians, and British settled. These divisions still exist today. Chinatown has always been at the heart of Singapore, and it was with the arrival of a huge number of Chinese immigrants in the 19th century that really transformed this small, obscure backwater to one of the most